This is your morning Buzzcast for Wednesday, May 28th. I'm Abe Madcore. A couple of things to start the Buzzcast. Have you watched Amazon's docuseries on Dale Earnhardt? If so, let me know your thoughts. A lot of buzz on that series. Also, something to keep your eye on. The early reviews of NASCAR on Prime Video and the French Open on Warner Brothers Discovery are so far very positive. Here's some of the reaction. You had ESPN's Marty Smith praising the work of Amazon Prime with its drone pilots for its NASCAR coverage over the weekend. And the early reviews of the booth of Adam Alexander, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Steve Letarte are very, very strong. They only have 5 races, so you will want to check it out quickly. I've also enjoyed WBD's coverage of the French Open. It seems to bring Roland Garros to life, and as USA Today's Dan Wolken notes, it, quote, feels fresh, but doing justice to the basics, end quote. Have you watched any of these new broadcasts? If so, let me know. Tell me what you think. Let's get to the news. More changes at the New York Mets. And while the team is 13 games over 500 as of Wednesday, May 28th, they're playing good baseball. They're seeing an increase at the gate. The team, though, has parted ways with its president of business operations, Scott Havens, after just 2 years. Mets owner Steve Cohen cited that the two had different perspectives on a long-term strategy, i.e., they did not see eye to eye on the future. Havens had been in the role since 2023. He had a background in media and publishing. He worked for Bloomberg for years. He even worked at SBJ's parent company, Advance, and Condé Nast for a while. Now, the Mets plan to announce a replacement who will work with Scott Havens on a collaborative transition. But here is what we know about Mets owner Steve Cohen. He wants to move fast. He wants to make decisions and try things. He is relentless. He will take risk. He will try new innovations. He wants to do it quickly. Some can handle that environment. Others have difficulty adjusting. The Mets have a number of C-suite openings, and for some reason, haven't found the right people to fill those roles and join the organization. So the team recently had openings for CMO, Chief Legal Officer, Chief Communications Officer, and a head of finance. They have all left the organization in recent months. So while the team wanted to see double-digit revenue growth on the business side, where they have seen solid gains is in attendance. The Mets rank 5th in average attendance this season so far. That's up from 17th last season. No timing yet on any replacement for Scott Havens. But obviously, this is a big job. President of Business Operations for the Mets in New York City, reporting directly to Steve Cohen, one of the most aggressive and ambitious owners in baseball. So yes, a big job with a lot to do and a lot of upside. So keep your eye on that opening. You know, there are a couple of team sales to continue to also watch. You have the Portland Trailblazers on the market. That process is in the very early stages. You've had the Minnesota Twins on the market for some time. And now a report from a well-connected St. Paul columnist notes that the Pohlad family could end up retaining ownership of the Twins all season or for the indefinite future. Or the option is they could sell at a price lower than initially anticipated. It's been 8 months since the Twins announced they would explore a sale of the club. The early speculated price was around $1.7 billion. And yes, if you're saying that buzz around the sale has been pretty light, you're right. There hasn't been a number of buyers publicly interested in the Twins, and the most recent report stated the club's asking price is now down to about $1.5 billion. So why would the Pohlads hold the team? Well, obviously, they want to see if they can get their asking price up. In addition, the MLB league office and other baseball owners would be quite peeved if the Pohlads took a reduced price for the Twins, because it would certainly diminish the value of other MLB teams. So a story certainly to watch going forward this summer. Let's shift to motorsports. Pepsi is getting into F1. This is a big deal both for F1 and PepsiCo, as PepsiCo did a deal with F1 for a number of its brands. You will see Gatorade, you will see Doritos, and you will see Sting energy drinks all becoming sponsors of F1 with plans for everything from digital content to on-package retail promotions. Financial terms weren't clear, but this is a long-term deal. Goes through 2030. There are so many assets. PepsiCo will be spending well into 8 figures per year. For Formula One, they fill an incredibly important category. They did not have a global sponsor in the drink and salty snacks, and now they get Gatorade as their official sports drink. Doritos becomes the official snack. Sting becomes the official energy drink. So big categories get filled. This deal is also such a big commercial win for Formula One, with another major US-based consumer-facing brand getting into motorsports and specifically F1. You will see the Pepsi brands on trackside signage, activations, and PepsiCo will certainly do a lot with hospitality to entertain its employees and clients. So a big deal for both Formula One and PepsiCo. You know, there was really no sophomore slump for the Professional Women's Hockey League as the Minnesota Frosts repeated as champions. They took home the Walter Cup on Monday. They beat the Ottawa Charge in overtime. They won the title on their home ice at XL Energy Center in front of over 11,000 fans. The team had to open up club-level seating to accommodate this afternoon crowd. They drew over 8,000 for Game 3 of the finals on Saturday. And this was a big event. You had, of course, the PWHL's Billie Jean King, Stan Kasten in attendance, co-owner Kimbra Walter. She is the wife of Dodgers owner and PWHL lead investor Mark Walter, as well as Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. So a big VIP turnout for the PWHL. As a league, it performed well in year 2. It averaged roughly 7,200 fans per game this year. That was up 33% from last year. Yes, it was driven largely by its takeover tour games. That's when they took their sport and their league to new markets, and those games averaged more than 13,000 fans a game, so that certainly lifted the league average. But bottom line, this league showed strength in year 2. You know, a sport we don't cover much on the Buzzcast, but one of note, Sail GP. That is the high-speed international sailing competition, kind of like F1 on water. And the reason they're in the Buzzcast today is that the Italian team, Red Bull Italy, has been acquired by a group of investors organized by Muse Sports. And that is the sports investing practice of Muse Capital. And I bring this up because if you were ever interested in the valuation of a Sail GP team, well, this transaction values Red Bull Italy at $45 million. It also makes Red Bull Italy Sail GP the first team to have female-led ownership, and they'll be looking for commercial opportunities in Italy. Muse Sports is pretty active in the sports space. They have stakes in the Washington Spirit, Sports Innovation Lab, and Just Women's Sports. And now they've added an investment of Red Bull Italy, the Sail GP team, to their portfolio. And I hit on college sports a lot yesterday on the Buzzcast, and we talked about the ways schools are looking for new revenue. I missed this. Georgia Athletic Director Josh Brooks said that Georgia is looking at hosting a concert at Sanford Stadium, and that could come as early as next April. And that would be iconic. The last time Sanford Stadium hosted a standalone concert was more than 10 years ago, I think 2013, with Jason Aldean. What I love about this, Josh Brooks, who is the man on top of his list? Yes, this makes sense. He wants REM, and he knows members of the band. He knows the band's manager, and yet they always tell him no REM reunion at Sanford Stadium. But Josh Brooks said he is going to continue to try and land REM to play at the venue. If he does, I am definitely going. And we'll end with this. Sports Business Journal is launching SBJ On Stage. This is a new audio and video product that really puts the spotlight on some of the more impactful conversations in sports and business leadership. These are conversations recorded at our conferences. Each episode will offer access to the insights and personal stories of the executives who are shaping the future of sports. In the premiere episode, which dropped on Tuesday, we present an exclusive conversation between Bob Iger and Jimmy Pitaro. It was from the CAA World Congress of Sports in April. It's an easy, informative, fun 35-minute listen, and they talk about their mentor-mentee relationship, and it is really compelling. SBJ On Stage will be available on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. I believe it will become a staple in your routine and commute, just like the Morning Buzzcast and our sports media podcast. Hope you check it out. If you have any questions or comments, certainly let me know. And that is your Morning Buzzcast for Wednesday, May 28th. I'm Abe Madcore. Thanks for listening. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. I'll speak to you tomorrow.